Hi guys, it is me, Countess, and today, I don't know, I just wanted to sit down. Well, I've been sitting down here. I've been sitting here thinking about stuff, and like sort of driving myself crazy because I'm going down that rabbit hole of existentialism. And I thought that maybe I could take you guys with me. So buckle up and let's go. I'm just kidding. No, I recently lost a very close friend of mine, very close, and she was part of my soul. And it's hard to come to terms with that, to grip that reality that I'm never going to be able to like go over to her house and hang out, do readings for her, have her do readings for me, her drop some knowledge on me. It's like I learned so much from her. She was 18 years older than me, but our souls were just intertwined together for a good 5-6 years. So I'm very, very grateful for that, but I'm very, very heartbroken for her loss, for the loss of her, for her family, for the void that it's taking in my soul too, and I'm sure a lot of you out there who have lost people who are near and dear to you have gone through this, and it's something that does, well, at least for me, makes you look at your mortality. Like when you're in your, like from age 1 to probably 33, 34, you think you're invincible. And then age just starts creeping in inch by inch, she'll come in many forms. She'll come, and you start to feel that. And then especially if you have children, when you have children, it does kind of turn things upside down. It makes you really think about your own longevity and theirs, and it's just hard to come to terms with the fact that everybody we know and love, and including ourselves, will one day pass, and we won't be around. And you can really like get sucked into despair thinking about stuff like that, right? So instead of doing that, I thought that we could go over just the basic points of existentialism. If any of you out there don't know, I did I studied English literature and philosophy in college, and existentialism was one of my favorites. I like I'm more of the like Descartes sort of Cartesian dualism. Like I believe in a God, I believe that. But existentialism is based off of, it's based off of a premise that there is no predefined meaning of life. So we're just here. We're just here and we're just like floating in the chaos. And this really does tie into other aspects of the occult and esoterica that we have been covering on my channel. So yeah, it's just it really is pertinent, and it really does relate to everything that's shifting into this age of Aquarius, and yeah. So I just kind of wanted to go over just a few bullet points about existentialism and what it is, and the different kind of tenets of it, or uh, categories of it. The categories of dread. Bah, bah, bah. Watch out, guys. I just would rather sit here and talk with you guys and go over this stuff than, you know, sit here with myself. And, well, technically I am sitting here with myself talking to a camera, but you guys know what I mean. I just want to get it out, and I don't know, I thought we could go through this stuff. So, Professor Countess, put on my cap. So we're going to look at the first one. Point we could look at would be nihilism. And I have my computer right here in front, and I'm going off of the stanford.edu website on existentialism and the different points that sort of overlap with each other. And it created this big movement in Europe. Yeah, everybody was so indoctrinated into Christianity and even Catholicism. See, in my own personal beliefs, I don't believe Catholicism is the same as Christianity, and I think Catholicism is the general stereotype that people associate Christianity with, and that really just makes me sick because Catholicism, don't get me started. That's a whole other video that we could go into. Anyways, so they were very religious back then, you know, when they believed in the afterlife. You know, there were people in the church, the pastors in the church who, sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable here. Move my drink off camera. They believed in an afterlife, you know, and people in the church, some pastors, some priests, would make money off of terrorizing their congregations. If you don't pay this amount of money to the church, you're going to hell. You know, if you don't give me money for praying for you, you're going to hell. You know, so it was like, that was a sort of blanket of threat over these people. And then the movement of existentialism kind of crept in, and it shifted things, like all movements do. All movements shift things in some way, shape, or form. And the first tenet I want to just highlight is nihilism. And this is very, very relatable to what we've been talking about. So let's check out their definition of nihilism. It's the emergence of existentialism as an intellectual movement, and it was influenced by the rise of nihilism in the late 19th century Europe, as the pre-modern religious worldview was replaced with one that was increasingly secular and scientific. This historical transition resulted in the loss of a transcendent moral framework and contributed to the rise of modernity's signature experiences: anxiety, alienation, boredom, and meaninglessness. Sound familiar? Ooh, especially the annihilation, right? Ooh, it's just, Okay, so let's go to the second one. Engagement versus detachment. Okay, so against the philosophical tradition that privileges the standpoint of theoretical detachment and objectivity, existentialism generally begins in medias res, amidst our own situated first-person experience. The human condition is revealed through an examination of ways we concretely engage with the world in our everyday lives and struggle to make sense of and give meaning to our existence. Yeah, so it's like what we do in the world and putting, being a good person and putting in, doing good deeds and being kind and generous and all of this stuff. It's the engagement, but then there's the detachment, the alienation. Again, that's the overlapping of it. And it's all situated in the first person experience. So there is no objectivity to it. So the next one is existence precedes essence. Existentialists forward a novel conception of the self, not as substance or thing with some pre-given nature or essence, but as a situated activity or way of being whereby we are always in the process of making or creating who we are as life unfolds. This means our essence is not given in advance. We are contingently thrown into existence and are burdened with the task of creating ourselves through our choices and actions. So it's kind of like the saying, you are what you eat, you are what you do in the world, and if you're going to be a great person, and again, be philanthropic, be kind, generous, forgiving, understanding, great, that's your existence. And it's your essence. It's inside of you. It's not, no, I'm sorry. I got that backwards. It's not your essence. It's not like a pre-given, deity-given essence, It's something that is developed and constructed through experience and behaviors and actions. Okay, so next one, freedom. Ooh, yes, we all love that word, don't we? We know plenty about it. Existentialists agree that what distinguishes our existence from that of other beings is that we are self-conscious and exist for ourselves, which means we are free and responsible for who we are and what we do. This does not mean we are wholly undetermined, but rather that we are always beyond or more than ourselves because of our capacity to interpret and give meaning to whatever limits or determines us. So, free will, right? But then that also ties into the Judeo-Christian point of view that God gave you freedom in the world, freedom of choice, freedom of will, and it is that we are always beyond or more than ourselves because of our capacity to interpret and give meaning to whatever limits or determines us. So, yeah, it's breaking free of the boundaries, like of, certain like societal constraints or, I don't know exactly. It's like being a rebel, basically, and saying F you to the rules and regulations of society, that you're a free being and you can do whatever you want, basically. The next point is authenticity. Existentialists are critical of our ingrained tendency to conform to the norms and expectations of the public world because it prevents us from being authentic or true to ourselves. An authentic life is one that is willing to break with tradition and social convention and courageously affirm the freedom and contingency of our condition. It is generally understood to refer to a life lived with a sense of urgency and commitment based on the meaning giving projects that matter to each of us as individuals. So, yes, this is, don't, and this reminds me actually something of my own personal experience. So, I have an older brother, and back in the 90s or whatever, I was just little, and I was talking, I think I like answered the phone, and I answered the phone kind of, hello, like kind of fake, actually mimicking my mother. And my brother was like, why are you talking that way? Like, that's not you. That's not how you talk. And I was just like, I don't know. That's how mom answers the phone. She's fake. And it's like about appearances and going with social norms and going with the flow, right? No, it's the total opposite. That's not where your authenticity lies. I think personally, your authenticity lies in your essence, that your divinely given essence. That's my personal view, but other people, everybody has their own. To each his own. The last one is ethics. So, although they reject the idea of moral absolutes and universalizing judgments about right conduct, existentialism should not be dismissed for promoting moral nihilism. For each existentialist, a moral or praiseworthy life is possible. It is one where we acknowledge and own up to our freedom, take responsibility for our choices, and act in such a way as to help others realize their freedom. International times. Like all of these points, we started at nihilism, then we went to the engagement versus disengagement, and then we went to the existence precedes essence, then freedom, authenticity, ethics. Like, this really does tie into the whole McCartney conspiracy. Well, no, it ties into the counterculture of the 1960s. Excuse me. That's what breaking free of norms and that shift in society. So I guess, yeah, it does have something to do with, the Paul McCartney replacement conspiracy too, because if you believe it, that Billy was, part of the PSYOP that was to condition and indoctrinate people into this free and loving lifestyle, and nothing matters. So you do you and do it to the best. YOLO, right? You only live once, and you better party it up while you can, because after this, it's nothing. It's just dead black silence. Yeah, that is nihilism wrapped up in a bow, where there is just like no purpose in anything, yet to break the social norm, and this is like where I get tripped up. To break the social norm, you're creating a new social norm, right? So then what happens when that new social norm is no longer hip or cool to the kids? They, in turn, You know, it's just like it's like a never-ending cycle. And that also, with the memoirs and the whole transmigration of Paul's soul into Billy McCartney, what happens when Billy dies? You know, is that just the end of that essence, the essence of Osiris? Horus? I'm sorry, Horus, not Osiris. You know, like, and then in another, like, 100, 200 years, another soul will be given this essence to come out into the world again. Like, that's where I'm like tripped up. And I guess that's where we all kind of get tripped up in just our own existence. It's like, what happens when we die? It's a horrible subject to have to like come face to face with, but it's also important to embrace and to not be afraid of. And these sort of tenets remind me of the Luciferian doctrine that I've gone over in earlier videos I made probably like 5-6 months ago now. Wow, that's crazy. I've been making videos for a while now. I never thought in my life that I would be making videos on YouTube, you guys. Just nuts. So thank you for all who watch my videos and hang out with me. You know, I was just kind of going down this like, you know, my personal beliefs versus what I knew her beliefs were, and they did not match. And it weighs heavy on my soul, you know, because I do believe in an afterlife. You know, I believe it's been proven that when a human dies, like, I think it's like 0.54, I'll look it up, 0.54 grams immediately go missing from the human body's weight. And that is said to be the weight of the soul. You know, it's energy. We're energy. We're energy wrapped up in these molecules and DNA and everything, you know, that can't die. Like, I don't see it dying, you know. I feel like we're put here on earth as a test of what we can do as people, preaching our own beliefs and religion to others, or not religion. I'm totally against religion. I'm talking about spirituality, your relationship with your God. And it's something that I hold very, very dear. I hold very, very important, and I fear. So that's why it's kind of been just like heavy on my mind ever since I found out the news, you know. And I don't really know all the details. I just know she died of a cardiac arrest. And minutes after her 58th birthday. We were exactly a month apart in our birthdays. I'm an Aries. She was a Taurus. What a pair we made, man. Oh, man. It's just make sure that you tell the ones you love that you love them. That's one thing that I'm so proud of, and that I feel so warm inside about, is we never were shy about telling each other how much we cared about each other. And that makes me happy. And I'm going to start like getting all watered up now if I continue, but it's comforting to know that you told that person that you love them, you know, even in anger and in a fight or whatever, you know, let go of it. These are petty matters. Think of what's important, because it may not be here tomorrow for you. So cherish it. And yeah, I don't know, this is kind of like a weird scrambled video, but interesting all the same. So kind of went down this topic and, you know, just wanted you guys to kind of get a better idea of it and how it relates to this counterculture, Luciferian way, you know, the Luciferian doctrine, basically freedom, personal freedom, alienation from, you know, get away from the herd, the one. You know, it's like, ugh, repeating themes all the time. And if people can't see this by now, then I don't know what the hell to tell them. You know, it's like this stuff is in everything, you know, and this one movement from the 19th century inspired the movement in the middle 20th century, the mid 20th century. You know, it's inspiration and history repeating itself like it usually does. Like King Solomon said, there's nothing new under the sun. So I will leave you with that thought, you guys, and just enjoy life, love your nearest and dearest, and we'll all get on with our lives and live our lives and know that when we die, at least a little piece of us somehow remains. Anyways, guys, yeah, I don't want to go down too much more of this because I'm starting to get heavy and like teary-eyed. So I am going to say goodbye. Thank you for joining me with this, whatever this was. Just kind of like a random video, but I just had to talk. I just wanted to talk about something, you know, get my mind off of it, or just to get something out, you know. I've been talking about it a lot to people, my family and everything, but you know, I just wanted to talk to you guys because I feel comfortable with you guys. So let me know what you guys think about existence, you know, to be or not to be, or I think therefore I am, right? That's I don't know if that's Sartre, I can never pronounce his name, or Descartes. I think it might be Descartes. I've always sort of agreed with Descartes more than like Nietzsche or Heidegger or any of those fellas, you know. That there's too much in this world construction wise, or you know, too much in this world that can't be explained by just random chaos coming together by chance. No. Anyways, guys, there's much more out there, and I'm going to say goodbye because I'm just like rambling now. I don't know why. So good night, goodbye, good afternoon, whatever it is in the world where you are. I hope if this video finds you well. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and let me know what you guys think. What if you have any thoughts about this deep and groovy subject. It's not really groovy, it's kind of dreadful and gloomy. Not groovy, gloomy, but it's a part of life. So c'est la vie. Bye guys. We'll see you in the next video.